Looks like Paul's getting ready. I have to get going here as well. He said we're going to leave at 6:34, and now I'd say it's about 7:02. What's going on with the Swiss people, huh? It's an early start here for us in Rigilisco. Paul and I are going to go to a farm today and get some milk because we're going to do some camembert. And we're going to take John to Puerto Parada as well because he needs to travel up to San Salvador for his paperwork. He's extending his visa. Boga is looking very sad. Usually at this time we go to shore and you do yoga and I get to romp around. I feel something is wrong. Yeah, Boga already complained, telling me what she thinks of this early morning plan and not getting to romp around on the beach first thing in the morning. It's going to be a 20-minute lancha ride, more or less, from Rigilisco to Puerto Parada. And then, I don't know, Paul will have to tell us. After a couple of months in my home country, Germany, I'm back on my sailboat Karl that is currently anchored in a bay called Rigilisco in El Salvador. There are 2 other solo sailors anchored next to me, my good old friend Paul on his boat Yerba Buena and our new neighbor John on his boat Alexis. So with this pier, you're never really sure. Every day there's like more holes in it, so you're never really sure if you're gonna be the one stepping on one that's gonna cause the next hole. So Paul, where are we going now?
We're going to the finca because they're milking the cows right now and we're gonna have fresh milk.
Woo, why do we have to get fresh milk?
For making cheese, you could use pasteurized, but then you have to add some chemical stuff. And if you have fresh milk, raw milk, then you can make cheese without the chemical stuff.
Buenas. Can't get it much fresher than that.
And home we go.
This was pretty cool. I think this is the first time I saw manual milking, and I was even allowed to give it a try. It's not as easy as it looks, but it was really cool to see them do the work. And interestingly enough, it's all men working here. I think back in the days in Germany, it was a lot of women milking the cows, but here it's all men. So it's $8 for 10 liters of milk, fresh milk. And we also got the experience with it, so I think that's a really awesome price. This is the store where we buy some basic stuff like potatoes and onions and sometimes some carrots. So we try to buy what we can here in Parada, and then whatever we can't buy, we buy in the next bigger town, which is Usultan. There's 2 ferreterias, which is like hardware stores. There's a gas station and there's a couple of small shops and 1 restaurant that we know of, Isabella's, a little kiosk, and a pupuseria where you can buy those typical El Salvadorian pupusas. There's a cat. Boga, hey! Karl the milkman. I think the German Ministry of Agriculture, or whoever it would be that's certifying this process of milk production and milk transportation, they would probably go insane with the hygiene standards of this whole thing that we're doing here. I mean, first of all, the farm, and now the milk is just sitting in the sun, going into the dinghy, going on a half-hour dinghy ride without refrigeration. I'm sure for cheese making that's really good, right? You have some cultures already developing whilst you're just driving the milk around. Not sure if it's the right cultures that you want for the cheese making, but you know. Since my return from Germany, life has embraced a pace of serenity and simplicity. The anchorage I find myself in is a spectacle of breathtaking beauty, cradled in perfect protection. Each morning I'm greeted by the majestic silhouette of volcanoes as the early sunlight blankets everything in a golden hue. Rising early, around 6 o'clock, I paddle ashore with my loyal companion Boga. And our friends Theodora and Arturo graciously offer their charming cabin on stilts for my morning yoga sessions. Truly one of my most cherished yoga spots. The tranquility, coupled with the view of my sailboat anchored against a mountain range, sets the stage for a blissful start to the day. And after yoga, it's time for a leisurely walk with my furry companions Boga and her boyfriend Juguete. During these walks in the mornings, there is a strict no film policy. So this is really just time for Boga and I to go wild and roam free, and her and I connecting a little bit. We usually do callback training, so because I usually let her run freely, but I want her to come back obviously when I call her. So we're training that on the way there. And then on the way back, we go over the beach and we throw some coconuts. And Boga gets to run a little bit because she's got a lot of energy. Good girl. Sit. Good job.
Okay. First, of course, we gotta clean everything, right? The big pot and the forms, we clean that with forks. And then we gotta heat up the milk to 30 to 32 degrees. Luckily, the milk already has probably 30 degrees
because ambient temperature, yeah.
Yes. And then we put some yogurt in it, and for the what do you call it? Acid, that the acid develops in the milk. Mm-hmm. Well, in this case, we put 10 liters of milk in the pot.
So 10 liters of milk are going to get how much cheese?
Wow, probably 1.5 kilograms by the time it's dry, right? Like at the beginning.
1.5 kilograms of cheese?
Yeah. Okay, and then we're gonna have to let it sit for about an hour so that the acid can start developing inside the milk. Come on, Bear. We can't do this now because it has to rest a little bit anyway. Take a little bit out. And we take a little knife This is what we need. And that should be just enough to make 1 kilogram or 2 kilograms of camembert. You put that in here, take a fork and...
So what happens with all the rest of that camembert or brie?
What do you think?
It's good.
And then we have to heat it up to about 36 degrees, not more. And we put in the rennet. The rennet works best between 32 and 36 degrees.
What's the rennet?
A rennet is the, I don't know, in German you call it Lab.
Lab, yeah.
Okay, normally you buy liquid rennet if you can. Here it's not available, so I bought tablets. We have to crush them and put them in a little bit of water and then stir it into the milk. So then you mix for 1 minute, not more, because after a minute the rennet starts to work and then you don't want to disturb it no more. And then you have to wait 45 minutes or sometimes 60 minutes. And then you can cut it. Go in for about 5, 6, 7 centimeters. A little more. Yeah, now you just turn it a bit, yeah, and lift it out. Yeah, that's good. This is my expensive high-tech tools that made with fishing line. So we take first the one that is vertical. This one will be the second one that's horizontal.
Okay.
Yeah, now just turn it. In one step. Just okay.
It's breaking though. And now it's pull it out?
Just pull it out, yeah. So yeah, and then we stir it. Once it's all cut, we stir it for about 15 minutes gently. Yeah, and then after stirring we let it sit another 15 minutes and then we fill it into the forms. Yeah, we just have to let it do its thing. It's gonna settle down. The liquid goes out, but of course it goes out more on the bottom. So in an hour we're gonna turn them around and then it's gonna be the opposite, right? This is on the bottom and it gives it a nice form then too, because now it's all rugged on top, right? After that it will look nice and like a cheese. So. Hey, quit it now! Just let it do its thing!
But it's gonna be a lot faster if I do this.
You're too German. It just takes, good things take time. That's what the French have in front of the Germans.
Okay.
We're not in Hamburg.
Alright, so now it's gonna be the moment of truth. This morning we had milk, and now apparently Paul has told me that if I flip this around, this is gonna be something like a cheese.
Wow.
Check this out, this is so cool.
There's still lots of liquid in it, as you can see.
As you can see, but this is sort of like the fresh cheese that you would buy here. Like lots of the cheese that you would buy here in Central America is just fresh cheese like this.
Yeah.
So this is my very first cheese that I ever made, and I mean it's taking some time, but it's actually pretty simple. Now what you need to make this into a camembert is patience. Paul is gonna do the patience part. I'm gonna leave that up to him because I would probably be eating this tonight. If you leave this with me, this would be probably gone by the end of tomorrow.
No. This every morning around 4:30 it has to be turned around, and I'm gonna be calling you so you can make your first cheese. Then overnight we leave it, and then the next day you salt it. And actually I always salted it once, but I just learned it's good if you salt it and then you let it dry for 12 hours, and then you salt it again.
Okay.
And then after that, it goes into storage. Storage bit around, well, 15 degrees is okay.
Okay.
Not 20 and not 5. So I put it in the fridge. And then after 4 days, the molds start to show up. And after 10 days, they should be actually covered, like a regular camembert that you buy.
Okay,
right?
yeah.
And after 4 weeks, it should be ready for eating.
Wow. Okay.
So this goes fast, 4 weeks, and after 6 weeks, it's ideal, like because it becomes softer and softer on the inside.
Paul, how much time do we have now until we have to turn it again?
2 hours.
2 hours.
Like 4 beers.
So I think 2 hours, definitely time to catch a beer. see her boyfriend, Juguete. There he is, waiting for her. Hola. Hola, cariño. Whoopa, there you go. Ya todo. Ya. ¿Todos se fueron a pescar?
Sí. Ajá.
Como un queso fresco.
Sí, sí.
¿Y usted qué ha dicho? Que ahora hay esta agua que hemos sacado del queso, que es esta agua, ¿no?
Sí, eso
Que sobra. Y
es el suero.
el suero.
Suero, sí, sí.
El suero.
As we landed ashore, I struck up a conversation with one of the local women, sharing insights about our cheese-making endeavors. To our delight, she revealed a fantastic tip, using the leftover whey from the cheese-making process to craft even more delights, like ricotta cheese. The visitors, captivated by Paul and me being from Europe, couldn't resist a request, a performance of a typical dance. So, with a touch of spontaneity, we found ourselves waltzing and improvising, much to the amusement of the onlookers. With the laughter echoing, it was time to transit to dinner, where I ventured into the world of tortilla making for the very first time.
Esta es la tuya y esta otra, es Colombia. Se confunde un poquito, pero esto,
Ya, la mía,
la que más,
aquí al lado, la pobrecita.
aislada de todo.
So my tortillas are not even making the pile because apparently they're so ugly, they're not allowed in the general tortilla pile. I don't see any difference, really, any difference. I think this one might be mine. This one is my first one. She really hates it. I really don't know why. I think it looks perfect.
What a day! A kaleidoscope of new lessons, explorations, laughter, and fantastic conversations. My heart is brimming with delightful memories, and I'm eager to uncover what the next chapter has in store. But more about that next week.